Podcast hosts Gabe and Leo discuss topics that directly and indirectly affect the LGBTQ plus community. Their generation gap has them seeing the world through very different points of view. They fight, they argue, they laugh, and they get off topic. But they make sense. Most of the time. Are you ready for this episode of Let's Talk Trans? Well, let's get started. I hope, for starters, happy Pride Month. Let me get that out there right now. Happy Pride Month, y'all. It is June 1st. It is Wednesday. It is, I don't know where you are. It might be cool and comfortable here. It is nasty hot for June 1st. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm taking it, but we put the air conditioners in the window the other day. So, I hope everybody had a fabulous Memorial Day. For those of you that celebrate for Memorial Day, if I could talk. For those of you that may be out of the country and don't support the holiday, but don't celebrate the holiday or don't even know what Memorial Day is here in the United States. Memorial Day is the day, I think every country probably has a day very similar to this, but Memorial Day is the day that we here as a country take time to remember the soldiers, the sailors, those that didn't make it home. Those that have served their country and paid the ultimate price, and that's what Memorial Day is here, and we usually mark it with parades, and we go out to the cemeteries and post other flags and what have you, and it should be a very solemn day. A lot of people do barbecues and things like that, and I'm guilty of that too. We did a clam bake at the firehouse after the parades, but it is a day to remember those that, like I said, paid the ultimate price. So, Memorial Day being the weekend, and then it got hot and nasty here, and now we are on June 1st, and Pride Month, and today's episode, I always say this, I would like it to be brief, but they never seem to be. So, today I had this whole big thing planned for today. We were going to talk about Pride Month, and kind of go on, about the Trevor Project, and how some people, don't particularly like the month, and the fact that the LGBTQ plus community gets its own month, and this, that, and the other thing. But I had to put all that on a break today because Leo got to go to his endocrinologist today, which was new. His original transitioning team, his transitioning doctor, left the network, left the system, and so we were kind of struggling to find someone in the network that would see him. Because, again, Leo is young. He's 14. But we got an endocrinologist, and it took a couple of months to get the appointment, but we finally saw him today. And when I say prick, I mean that's the nicest word that I can come up with for radio. This individual was so beyond transphobic, it wasn't even funny. Almost to the point where Leo and I enjoyed terrorizing him, to a sense. So we get into this appointment. It's very, we had to drive an hour and a half to get there. It was a very early appointment. And we get there, and we are talking, of course, the doctor comes in late, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "When did all this start?" My response, of course, as a parent was, back when he decided he wanted to play football and wear boy underwear. About the age of 4 or 5 years old. That's when I started to see these, now that I think about it, now that I see them. And he starts making all these questions about what if you want family, and 14 is too young, and who decided this, and what does your psychologist say, and you could be making a big mistake, and I mean, like to the point where he actually was going to refuse to continue Leo's testosterone because of the fact that he did not feel that Leo was ready. Forget the psychologist, forget the counselors, the social workers, the people that he's been talking to for years, forget the doctor who's been treating him for almost a year now. This endocrinologist decided that he felt Leo wasn't ready, so he was going to stop it. And because, for whatever reason, the psychiatrist's paperwork was not in the computer, it was not in the system, he was like, well, I have to have a psychiatrist backing for this before I do it. I'm just not going to do it. Well, wouldn't you know it, if that psychiatrist hadn't emailed it to me, so of course I had it right there on my phone, so I provided it to him. Oh, well, this is not this is a counselor, this is not a psychiatrist. And then I said, but your network says psychotherapist or psychologist. Doesn't specify that it can't be a psychologist or a counselor with psychology. It can't, they can be, reviewed by a psychologist and be under them as a counselor. Well, we usually start this at 16. But your network says you can start it at 14. And being that another doctor has already started this, you would actually be doing more harm than good if you stopped it. Well, I don't know, and it was literally like something that should have just taken 20 minutes, something that would have gone, yes, your labs look decent, okay, we're going to keep you on the same regimen. Maybe add puberty blockers, maybe. Instead, took an hour and a half of what if you want a family, what if you want children. You don't know what you want right now. No children at 14 knows what they want right now. I didn't know what I wanted when I was 14. I was like, oh my god. I mean, like it was insane. It was genuinely insane. And like I said, and thank God Leo and I were on the same page on this. Thank goodness we were on the same page on this with this guy. But it literally got to be a game. The guy would go, well, what about this? This doctor would go, what about this? And Leo would go, well, there's that. And he would go, well, you're too young. And I would go, but your policy says he's not. And his therapist says he's not. Well, I don't have this documentation. Oh, well, here it is. Well, I don't feel that this is effective. Well, then let's do this. Well, you don't like doing this, so we're going to do this. How come your doctor didn't put you on puberty blockers? How the hell should I know? And Leo was nice. Leo did not drop that H word in there. He did not say hell. Leo just went, I don't know. Like, I'm not a doctor. How would I know? And he was smart. I mean, Leo said, to my understanding, the doctor said that, I was developed far enough along that he didn't feel that they were necessary. And the endocrinologist, well, the estrogen and testosterone, they're bouncing against each other. They're causing all sorts of problems. And then there's, the threat of osteoporosis. And I stopped right then and there. I stopped. I had to stop. Because this doctor was trying to scare Leo at that point. And I don't even think Leo was aware of it. And I was livid at that point. This doctor said, once you start puberty blockers and estrogen is removed from the system, then your bone density begins to change and what have you. And I went, wait, no, because yes, that's what happens because there's a lack of a hormone, but testosterone helps with muscle mass and bone growth. So therefore, the testosterone actually kind of negates the whole, osteoporosis thing. But he was trying to use osteoporosis and the risk of breaking bones like it was going to affect a kid. Like, I'm sorry, but at what point does any young man go, I'm going to be a girl so that I have stronger bones? That's not how that works. The human body adapts. And it was like, it was just, I can't even explain it. Like, I'm so tongue-tied. And this was hours ago. This was 6 hours ago. And I'm still livid over this jerk's mentality of trying to scare Leo into going, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe I should backtrack after 9 months. Like, really? And I think, we're almost positive at this point, that this was the same doctor that one of Leo's friends went to, who refused to put him on testosterone. Now, this doctor couldn't stop Leo because Leo's already on testosterone, and he couldn't, he would run a risk of a lawsuit if he backtracked because there was already a clinical diagnosis of, I almost said post-traumatic stress disorder. there was already a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, and because there had been 9 months treatment, he couldn't very well go, no, we're not going to do it anymore, because that would start a whole slew of other things, and he knew, but he also knew that if he could convince Leo to go, maybe I should wait, that would be his door in, but because he couldn't do anything. So it took like I said, it took us an hour and a half to get this doctor to understand that we were not new at this game, that his threats weren't going to work, that his transphobic mentality was, and I shouldn't say that. I don't even know if it's transphobic mentality. It was more like an age. Is there an age phobia? I'm sure there's an age phobia, but it was almost like he was convinced that because Leo was 14, there was absolutely no way Leo could know what he wanted in life, and that is upsetting. Are all children, confident and aware enough to know what they want in life? Absolutely not. And we have to, take every single case, every child every person is different. I mean, like, Leo knows that he is not a female. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he knows everything in his life and everything is best out, but at least he knows that much for sure. Leo is a much happier child now, because Leo has come out as Leo. But in the same breath, though, I know a man who's in his 50s who still hasn't figured his life out. Every person is different. Every person is unique. For this doctor to come and attempt to convince Leo or to undermine this confidence level in Leo was disturbing. Like I said, disturbing to say the least. And and I'm going to use the word needling. He kept needling at Leo, because Leo uses gel, and he was like, well, the gel's ineffective, and your labs say so. Well, he was looking at labs from 6 months ago, when Leo wasn't putting the gel on in the right place, or not using the correct dosage. Didn't bother to look at labs that were more modern, or more recent. Didn't even order new labs to make the assessment. And then in addition to that, he said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to get you on an estrogen blocker, and then I'm going to put you on a monthly dosage of testosterone, and it's going to be a shot. Knowing full well that the reason why Leo went off, or was on the gel, was because he doesn't like injections. This doctor said not one injection for the estrogen blocker, or the puberty blocker, but 2. So let's see if we can't just, you know what I mean? Like, it was that last-ditch little dig trying to convince Leo to back out. Was, oh, needles make you uncomfortable? I'm going to stick you twice. And then he's like, well, you can either go to your primary and have that done, or you can drive down here. I'm not driving an hour and a half so that you can stick a needle in my kid. No thank you. It was, like I said, it was completely and totally unreal. And we got out to the car, and like I said, Leo and I were laughing because it was over the top, unbelievable. But I had to wonder, and Leo had to ask this too, if this guy was so consistently sure that, Leo did not know what he wanted for his age, and perhaps was transphobic or hints at transphobia, why is he in this field? Why is he willing to see transgender children? And I think we just got to that point where we said, like, when he started medical procedures, this wasn't a young doctor by any stretch of the imagination. Not a ready to retire, country doctor either. But a man who has strong morals, not disagreeing with his strong morals. His moral compass is where it's at, and not everybody's points in the same direction, and I'm okay with that. But it had to do more with the fact that when he came in to medicine, the LGBTQ plus community was probably not as prevalent. The idea of transitioning medically was not prevalent. And so this guy is not only being bombarded, and he's a pediatric endocrinologist at that.